Welcome to Middle Class Matters Business News in English from Dr CMA Alagesan. Securities Exchange Board of India SEBI confirmatory order on Subash Chandra and the chairman Punit Goenka, the MD, in the Z Entertainment case. The table above shows the relationship of Mr. Ashok Singhavi as a professional director or independent director or designated partner in many of the promoter controlled entities, including Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited, SL Corporate Resources Private Limited, New Media Broadcasting Private Limited, and Living Entertainment Enterprises Private Limited, to name a few, mostly as a professional director. Further, Mr. Vipin Chaudhary was a designated partner in Charu Enterprises LLP at the relevant time. As noted from publicly available documents, the list of some of his directorships during the above mentioned period is given below. Table number 8. Company appointment date, appointment at current designation on cessation date designation. SL Corporate LLP 1st July 2019 designated partner. SL Finance Advisors and Managers LLP 26th November 2021 body corporate as designated partner. SL Finance Capstar Advisory LLP 9th December 2021 designated partner. SL Finance Management LLP 23rd December 2021 body corporate as designated partner. SL Finance Portfolio Managers LLP 23rd December 2021 designated partner. SL Finance Wealth Zone LLP 26th November 2021 designated partner. New Media Broadcasting Private Limited 27th September 2019 Director Professional. Pan India Network Limited 30th September 2017 20th August 2019 Director Professional. Shirpur Gold Refinery Limited 14th November 2018 to 31st October 2019 Nominee Director Promoter. Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited 30th September 2019 Director Professional. Spirit Sports Private Limited 30th September 2019 Director Professional. Sri Gayatri Educational Services Private Limited 16th September 2021 Director Professional. Subash Chandra Foundation 30th November 2021 Director Professional. The above table indicates the relationship of Mr. Vipin Chaudhary as a professional director, nominee director, promoter in many of the promoter controlled entities. In view of the above, it can be prima facie held that Mr. Ashok Singhvi and Vipin Chaudhary, in their capacity as professional directors, would be taking instructions from the promoters of the companies belonging to SL Group. Thus, it can be prima facie held that Entity number 2 did exercise control over Charu Enterprises LLP. Similarly, with respect to control of entity number 2 over Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited, which was the other company involved in direct or indirect fund transfer to the associate entities, following is noted. The shareholding structure of Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited, as noted from publicly available material, is listed below. Entity shareholder percentage. Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited, Mrs. Sushila Goenka 49%, Asian Satellite Broadcast Private Limited 48%, Mr. Punit Goenka 2%. The web of intricate connections of shareholding of Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited is also shown. From the above, it is seen that Ms. Sushila Goenka and Mr. Punit Goenka hold 51% directly in Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited and indirectly hold 48% through Kota Agri and Reality Developers Private Limited, MH Solar Energy Private Limited, Last Mile Network Limited, Indoor Solid Waste Private Limited, Indoor Solid Waste Processing Plant Private Limited, and Indoor MSW Management Private Limited. Moreover, Mr. Vipin Chaudhary, who was a designated partner in Charu Enterprises LLP at the relevant time, was the director in the Spirit Infra Power and Multi Ventures Private Limited at the relevant time. The same further prima facie establishes Mr. Punit Goenka's influence on the entity. 41.8. The submission of entity to number 2 that he has not been benefited from the scheme is also without merit. It has been noted in preceding paragraphs that the 7 associate entities have benefited to the tune of INR 200 crore as the dues to Yes Bank Limited was set off against the fixed deposit of Z Limited. The 7 associate entities had written to Z Limited on September 18, 2019 that it has come to their attention that a term deposit maintained by Z Limited with Yes Bank Limited was transferred to their current account maintained with Yes Bank Limited, and that they would be returning the funds to Z Limited. From the material available on record and entity number 2 submissions, it is not clear at this stage as to how the 7 associate entities gained the knowledge that the funds they have received in their current account from Yes Bank Limited belong to Z Limited. SL Green Mobility Limited has given an explanation, but the said explanation is without any supporting evidence, hence cannot be accepted at face value. Further, if the funds were transferred by Yes Bank Limited to the account of 7 associate entities erroneously by Yes Bank Limited, then why instead of transferring back the money to Yes Bank Limited, money was transferred to Z Limited? The aforesaid, when seen along with the fact that there was hardly any money in the bank accounts of the 7 associate entities prior to the transfer done by them to Z Limited, and as per the available records, entities 1 and entity 2 through various cross holdings and have shareholding in the 7 associate entities leads to a prima facie inference that it was the entity number 2 along with entity number 1 who stands to benefit if the debt is erased from the books of the 7 associate entities. In addition to the above, the benefit which has accrued to entity number 2 and even entity number 1 as the chairman of SL group of companies out of the scheme also has to be assessed by considering as to what would have happened if Yes Bank Limited had not appropriated the said fixed deposit. It is an undisputed fact that 7 companies were related parties of Z Limited. As has been prima facie found in the interior model, these 7 companies are owned controlled by the promoter family of Z Limited, including entity number 1 and entity number 2. The fact that Yes Bank Limited, after consulting with the leadership team of SL Group, as noted from Yes Bank Limited's letter dated October 11, 2019, had to appropriate the fixed deposit towards the loan taken by the 7 associate entities is indicative only to the fact that in the normal course, these 7 associate entities had not been able to pay up the dues. Accordingly, had the fixed deposit not been appropriated, all the 7 associate entities owned and controlled by the promoter family of Z Limited would have defaulted. In the event of such a default, all these 7 associate entities would have been exposed to legal action from Yes Bank Limited in terms of the provisions of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets, and Enforcement of Securities Interest Act 2002, Recovery of Debts and Bankruptcy Act 1993, and other applicable laws. Since the 7 associate entities were owned and controlled by the promoter family of Z Limited, any default on their part would also have exposed the promoter family's inability to pay debt of companies owned or controlled by them. The possible repercussions thereof would also have been the loss of trust of lenders in both SL Group companies. Clearly, the possible ramifications of the default by the seven promoter owned or controlled companies would have been severe, and the same strengths the prima facie findings that the entities had orchestrated the scheme to conceal the default by the associate entities and the loss that had been caused to Z Limited or other listed entities and subsidiaries of SL Group. 41.9. The submission of entity number 2 that not in every instance the money which was allegedly circulated or come back to Z Limited is untenable. It would be too naive to believe that every time the money is circulated, only if the exact amount lands up in the bank account of the last recipient, only then can it be considered non-genuine. In any case, in the instant matter, the money has been received in the bank account of Z Limited was almost the same amount that was circulated. 41.10. Entity number 2 has submitted that he has taken appropriate measures to ensure that prima facie observations in the interim report are not repeated in the future. I have pursued the submissions of entity number 2 regarding the additional measures taken by entity number 2 for risk mitigation, and they were as follows. 41.10.1. The said measures pertain to determination of procedural lapses in the fixed deposit matter. 41.10.2. It was noted by the management auditor that none of the authorized signatories of Z Limited had permitted Yes Bank Limited to appropriate the fixed deposit. 41.10.3. Further guidelines for appointing authorized signatories of banking and investment transactions were verified by the management auditor. 41.10.4. Moreover, management auditor also confirmed the receipt of funds from the borrower entities. Lastly, all the fixed deposits of Z Limited were withdrawn to be invested in liquid funds. The aforesaid measures which have been undertaken by entity number 2 are based on the premise that the fixed deposits of C Limited was appropriated by Yes Bank Limited erroneously on account of a procedural lapse. The same is, however, different from the prima facie observations recorded in the interim order. As brought out in the interim order, the instant matter pertains to issuance of LOC by entity number 1, and on the strength of the said LOC, Yes Bank Limited had liquidated the fixed deposit of INR 200 crore. Even Yes Bank Limited letter dated October 11, 2019 to Z Limited refer to the said LOC. The letter also states various possibilities of including appropriation of fixed deposit number 007 by the bank was duly discussed with the leadership team of SL Group companies. Thus, we are surprised and shocked to read the contents of your letter dated 30th September 2019. Hence, you along with SL Group companies should stop ignorance about the appropriations of the said fixed deposit by the bank. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please share to your friends to share about the information on the various schemes adopted by the corporate entities while they are not in a position to do proper business. Thanks for watching.